Welcome, WOMMA fans, to another sneak peek at WOMMA Summit 2013. We are honored today to have members from Beam Spirits and Dell come talk about the so-called complex relationship of legal and marketing. Let's meet the team.
Hi, I'm Andrea Javer. I'm the Global Director of Digital and Media Strategy here at Beam.
I am Jason Miller. I am the Social Content Manager here at Jim Beam.
Hi, my name is Allison Wilcox. I'm the Assistant General Counsel at Jim Beam.
And I'm Sarah Vella. I do enterprise social media at Dell.
And as you can see, we have quite a packed house here today. So in our industry, people claim that the relationship between legal and marketing is somewhat tense. But that's not always the case at every company. What are some of your guys' experience?
Yeah, so I think that it's probably a common perception that legal would kind of be against marketing and what they were trying to accomplish, and specifically with the fast-paced social media industry, really unaware of all of the nuances within the space. Where we're really lucky actually at Beam is that our legal team and our marketing teams, especially with social media, work really well together. I think we fundamentally have the philosophy that we need to understand each other's practices and really kind of the nuances within both what we're trying to accomplish with marketing as well as our legal team trying to frankly keep us out of jail and keep us really honest with what we're trying to do and compliant as a company in such a highly regulated industry. So by knowing where each other is coming from and how that achieves the larger business goals for the company, I think that's really where we win and we succeed. So we actually find it to be a really free-flowing relationship between our social team and our legal team. We don't feel a lot of tension. I think we feel quite a lot of cooperation and collaboration in the day-to-day of what we do.
Sarah?
Very similar to the story at Beam. I think Dell has a wonderful tradition of, well, two things. On the one hand, we're actually lucky enough to have somebody who is a social media lawyer at Dell whose whole responsibility is covering legal for social media. And obviously, as you might expect, that's a person who actually really gets social media too. So he's very much culturally understands how social works. And those of us who are social media practitioners for the company can really speak to him and communicate with him. And he's also a lawyer, so it's great to have somebody in that role at Dell, and he's a wonderful resource. In addition to that, Dell is it's a global company. We have 100,000 employees. We have a lot of people obviously engaging in social media. Many of whom want to speak for the company and want to speak proudly about their jobs or their products and solutions. And so it can be a lot to wrangle and a lot to manage, and a company of that size really needs to have a good social media training in place to make sure that employees are compliant and understand the rules and know what to do if they run into any kind of trouble. So Dell has been at the forefront of making sure that their employees are informed, not slapping them on the hand after the fact, but really giving them the tools and resources that they need to be prepared and to go out there and do it right the first time. Obviously, people run into trouble, stuff happens. It's, like I said, a huge company with a lot of people, and sometimes the communications can get lost in the shuffle. But I think, Dell, I'm proud that Dell does a really exceptional job of preparing its employees, and not just employees. Obviously, this is a conversation about legal and marketing, but that's a big part of it, making sure that the company as a whole understands how to proceed and how to put their best foot forward.
Very nice. Well, hopefully a lot of our viewers and members can relate, but sadly, there are some companies who that relationship really is complex and not always great as it can be. Jason, what are some of your tips for tipping this relationship in the right direction for companies who don't have it as good as Dell or Beam?
I think there's a few tips. I think the first tip is realize that they're not here to say no. Is they really do want to work with you. And if you have that mindset, I think that changes the whole game, because if you always think that they're working against you, I think that you're always kind of on your heels and you're never working towards finding solutions together. And the second, and I would say is almost of equal priority, is talk to them early. Bring them into the process as quickly as you can. You would hate to have your team go through an entire process of figuring out, have this great idea that's going to execute, it's going to be amazing, you're going to win thousands of awards, et cetera, only to find out that there's a huge hiccup in it that you could have avoided early on if you would have brought the legal team in with you. I actually think that you should consult your legal team before you even consult your brand team in some cases, because the first thing that the brand team is going to ask you is, what does legal say? And I would rather have legal on my side than brand on my side, because at the end of the day, brand is flexible, legal sometimes cannot, and that's just a fact of the business, especially in a regulated industry like spirits.
Thanks, Jason. Allison, moving on to you. What are some of the dangers of ignoring this relationship, or just like if you don't bring legal in early, like Jason said, what could happen?
Well, some of the downfalls are, you get through a major marketing process and you come up with creative and you come up with an entire campaign, and if you haven't brought legal in the kind of at the right times, and they haven't reviewed execution and how you're going to use different social channels, you risk basically being able to properly run your campaign, and that has serious financial implications. You might end up not really kind of achieving the primary goal of what your campaign was trying to do, or be limited in some other way that could have been avoided if you would have engaged with your legal team early and often.
Thanks, Allison, and thank you everyone for all the great tips. If anyone wants to hear more about fine-tuning that relationship and/or strengthening that relationship between the marketing and legal teams, please join us at WOMMA Summit 2013, November 18th through 20th, at the brand new Omni Nashville Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. You can find the entire agenda at womma.org. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Adios.